Hey guys, so sorry that I am not able to be at meeting tonight. I had to fly out of town for a funeral. So here's my video. I loved this book. I thought it was really interesting, and all the different qualities of leadership just were really cool. The first law that I really enjoyed was the law of progress, and I thought I would read you something from the book. On page 25, it says, see what a person is doing every day, day after day, and you'll know who that person is and what he or she is becoming. And I just love that, like, it's about who you are, but it's also about how you're working to become something more. And I just thought that was so cool. I know they talked about Teddy Roosevelt and how to his very last day he was reading more and learning more and trying to improve on himself. I found the law of navigation at first that was kind of tricky. Like they were saying, like anyone can steer a ship, but not everyone can know where it's going. And it was just like kind of confusing to me, but then I got it. Like, if you can't map out the course of where you're going before you go, then are you really leading? Law of addition, I also really liked. There's a quote on page 52 that says, do that long enough and you not only add value to others, you multiply it. And that was just so cool that, like, in order to be a true leader, you can't just help people and lead people. You actually have to give them value. And I just really thought that was cool. The law of magnetism was really, really good one about how, like, you draw people to you. And on page 104, it said, who you attract is not determined by what you want. It's determined by who you are. I just thought that was so crazy because we feel like a lot of times the people that we, lead are people that's like, oh, we want this quality and this quality and this quality. Whereas, that was when they had us write down, like, what qualities in people that you look for. And then it's like, do you have those qualities? And like, quite a few of the ones that I wrote down, I was like, oh, I kind of do. But at the same time, that can be also very convicting. Like, really makes you look at yourself and be like, would I want someone following me that's like me? Or like, what qualities do I have that would not make a good follower? Law of inner circle. This was actually, I think, one of my weaker ones at the end of the book when they had like the leadership test thing. This is actually one of my weaker ones, and they said in that chapter, it's lonely at the top, so you'd better take someone with you. And this just really reminded me of when I was vice president for my sorority. There were some times where people did not like me and the president because we made changes and we had to make hard decisions, and people don't like that kind of thing. And I could not have gotten through that year as vice president without my president with me. Like, at least we were hated together. Law of empowerment, I also really, really loved. But I feel like this one was kind of scary. Like on page 147, it's the only way to make yourself indispensable is to make yourself dispensable. And like that would be so hard as a leader, like especially in a company, like where you need job security and you need your job for financial issues, you need that. But in order to make yourself a valued person at that company, you have to give everything away. You have to make sure that your other employees are being valued and empowered to become better leaders than possibly even you. So I feel like in order to really grasp that, you'd have to be a very confident and secure leader. Law of buy-in was my favorite. It was my favorite, like, leadership principle. They talked about Gandhi and just all these amazing leaders, and it's like, it's so true. If people don't love the leader, they're not going to care about the mission. It was just so cool. Like, because I can think of times where I really liked what something stood for, but I didn't like who was doing the standing. I feel like law of buy-in, though, too, can be used in negative ways. Like, I've read articles and books and stuff from a lot of Nazis, and they said that, they didn't even really agree with what Hitler was saying, but Hitler was so charismatic and so charming and so intelligent, they just, like, wanted to believe in whatever he said. And I feel like that's the same way with cults and things of that nature. Like, it's scary how willing people are to follow people that they trust and that they respect. The law of Big Mo, which is momentum, it's just a funny name. But on page 196, it says, though the rest of the world wasn't seeing it yet, Pixar was starting to develop momentum. And that just like really kind of made me feel good that momentum doesn't have to be acknowledged by other people. Like Pixar, they were talking about gaining momentum, but no one else really saw that. You know, a lot of it was behind the scenes, and Pixar was even kind of getting frustrated that people weren't seeing the momentum, but they still like kept going and kept pushing, and it I mean, obviously made a huge impact on their business. And I don't know, that just made me feel very like reassured that your momentum doesn't always have to be visible to others, and it can be an inward momentum, and it takes a while, but you can still have it. And then the last law of legacy. That one was really, really cool. And I'm going to read from page 259. They said, most people simply accept their lives. They don't lead them. And I wrote in my book, am I an agent of change or just a result of it? You can see I wrote it right there. But that was what that made me think of. Is like so many times we just let our life go by and we live it. You know, we're like, okay, this is what life is. But like, we gotta leave something. You know, like our life has to mean something, and we get to be an agent of what our life means. We get to kind of decide, you know, who we impact and how we impact them. And that kind of got me thinking, like, what do I want my legacy to be? And I wrote down that I kind of want my legacy to be like the law of progress, of like always trying to get better. Maybe that I'm not all together all the time and I'm not the best at something, but that I'm constantly trying to achieve the greatness. I'm constantly trying to progress. And like I mentioned before in the test in the back of the book, my lowest score was the law of inner circle. My highest score was law of intuition, which, I mean, I'm pretty good at discerning things. But it was really cool to see that most of my scores fell between like the 5, 6, and 7 range, which they said was, you know, there are areas to improve upon. And that's good news, because this book taught us over and over again that we can always get better in our leadership. That, you know, even though some things are kind of inborn and innate, like we always have room to grow and always have room to become better leaders. So yeah, Daniel, great pick for the book. It was awesome. Have a good night, guys.